to a show.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Off the Mets podcast. And I'm back. Well, I wasn't gone, but, you know, it's me. It's Dante, your awesome host. And this week on the podcast, right, so I have a guest who trains MMA out of Crazy 88. Well, you still over 88, right?
Yes, sir.
See, I got to be checking. Sometimes I'm like, yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, fuck them. I should edit that. Just I ain't trying to get wrist locked. But got a guest from over at Crazy 88, where I train at, one of the teammates, if you will. Now we're gonna do something different. We're hit with the introduction, because I go, yo, what's the proper pronunciation of your name? This man was like, well, which one? I was like, you know, just introduce yourself, man. Like, don't put me on the spot like that. So today on the podcast, I would like to welcome
Beltus Tabot.
Man, I knew. Man, I was reading. I was like, I knew how to say that, but I was like, man, let me make sure this is straight. And then when you said which one, I was like, man, don't do this to me. You gonna? He was like, you gonna hit me with like a 15 letter name, and I'm like,
hey, I'm gonna give you one of those. I'll just make up a name and give you. It's like, yeah, that's my name.
I'd be making up
Shaka
names.
Zulu or something, you know.
See, you can't get me with that one. I'm like, no, I've seen that one before.
A good movie, man. That was a good movie. If you did watch the movie,
When I was a kid, but when I say I watched it, it was one of those things where it was like it was on, and I'm just looking at the screen like, all right, fuck y'all want from me, like you know, I look up at my uncle like, am I supposed to get something from this? This is educational.
I have to be inspired by this, my son.
Like this is the homeland. And it was like, dog, I just want to go outside.
Hey, play some ball.
Like, yeah, you scaring me. Can I go ride my bike? Well, Beltus, welcome to the show, man, and thanks for making the time to do this. How you been?
I've been good. I'm really happy to be here. I don't know if you know, but I'm recovering from an injury actually. I got injured during a jiu-jitsu match in April, so I had to get surgery
Fucking
the month
jiu-jitsu.
after that. Yeah, man, fuck jiu-jitsu.
I hate them so much.
I know my mom's not gonna hear this, so I can say fuck jiu-jitsu. Nah, but yeah, I've been good. Back to walking, back to training. Right now I'm doing just boxing. The better my leg gets, I'll go back into kickboxing and then jiu-jitsu and wrestling and all that type of stuff.
What was the injury that you got?
I dislocated my kneecap.
God damn.
So it was, yeah.
You didn't have to. You could just be like, you don't even want to know, and I would be like, all right.
Yeah, it was. It's the type of injury that when you see people have, you cringe a bit. And then I was looking at my leg, so yeah, it messed with me a little bit. But yeah, they popped it back in place. The doctor was like, yeah, you're gonna need surgery if you want to continue competing. If not, you're gonna be one of those people whose knees, the knee keep popping out of place. So I was like, yeah, I'm not trying to do that.
Yeah, nah.
If I have to do that, I'll just quit and play like golf or something.
Yeah. And every time I get an injury, I always think to myself, like, is it too late to like just go back to something else? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like
pickleball, maybe.
I don't know.
So, but glad you're recovering from that and getting back out there, because injuries can be real tricky for some folks. Like, did you have any kind of like any doubts, where you're like, man, shit, like, should I try something else or bounce back?
100%. I had those thoughts, but when I got injured, as soon as I got injured, I was just like, oh, damn, is this the end? That was the first question I asked myself while my knee was, screaming in pain. And then I think I was panicking, and I turned and asked my coach, like, yo, will I still be able to compete? Because Coach Keith he ran in as soon as it happened, and he was like, oh, I was like, am I gonna be able to compete again? Am I still gonna be able to compete? And then he was like, yeah, you just, not immediately, but you'll be fine. People have had injuries like this before. But I thought to myself, of course, those thoughts will come in, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm not the first person to get injured. First of all, people come back from injuries all the time. Secondly, I was like, man, I don't want to quit like so martial art. This injury is martial art is taking stuff away from me. As in sense of I've gotten injured. It's taking a pound of flesh. I'm not gonna give it a pound of flesh and quit. I want something. Now if anything, now I want it. I want it more than I want to. Is the mic in the right position?
No,
Yeah.
no, you're good. You're good.
If anything, because of the injury, I was like, man, this is MMA taking something away from me. I want something back. I want my I'm not gonna. Now I'm gonna if I was going at 80% or 90%, I'm going 120. I want something out of this. I want I don't want to. Oh yeah, what happened? Oh yeah, I stopped training because I was injured. And oh yeah, I used to box when I was young. Those type of what my Nigerian my neighbor is Nigerian guy. So he was always like, hey, yeah, I used to box when I was a young boy. And then one day they give me blow, and then I didn't want to do it again. But I don't want to be that type of guy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the thing too. It's like this ain't an easy path. So injuries are gonna happen. You're gonna get like your neighbors. Like, hey, I got cracked once, and
he was like, yeah, nah.
And maybe for some folks that ain't the life for them, and it's good to know that. But you don't want to have that. Like you get that injury, and then you don't try to come back. And it's like what would have been, what could have been. So shout out to you for bouncing back and be like, nah, like, all right, I gave you this. Well, you owe me now. I'm coming back for it. So good, man, good. So for the listeners who may not know you yet, like, how would you describe yourself on the mats or in the cage or away from it?
On the mats, well, I'll say I'm pretty chill guy. Off the mats, or even doing training, I'm chill for the most part. I wouldn't say I'm pretty measured, if that's a word. I'll say I'm a measured person. Sure. And I was saying the cage, I let loose a little bit.
The dual personality.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
chill here.
And then I'm
not chill.
I would say I'm very fiery in the cage, but still try to always keep a certain amount of control. Obviously, if you're trying to, So I would say I'm a chill guy.
As somebody who has done a podcast with you before, and now here we are for a second time, hey, I can attest to that. Like, 'cause for those of you who may not know, we had a surprise guest on our Columpton Beer Club episode one night, and it was yourself.
Me.
And we was like, all right, cool. And it was like, we still talk about that episode. It was like, yo, it was the funnest time we've ever had. But you was like just chill the entire time, but still having a good time. Like I think Steve and I were getting like more like goofy and fired up, and like you and Eli were like super chill, but still like in the moment of having a good time. So yeah, is what I can understand and describe you. Yeah, you're super chill, and like watching some of your fights is like, this is the same person,
same guy.
like no, I don't want that dude to hit me. He's too chill. Like he's just sitting there like, man, you ain't gonna do shit, and then next thing you know, like, oh no, he's about to do everything. But that's cool though, because I do think that people, you have some folks that are like,
they don't have an off switch.
Yeah,
they don't have an off switch, or they don't have an on switch.
Yeah. And it's just full. It's like go all the time. Or like I know for me, like when I'm training, I'm super chill. Like I could turn it on, but it's like I'd rather just like I'm cracking jokes on the mats and like laughing. Like when I'm getting like threatened with submissions, I'm like giggling. I'm like, well, yo, what is wrong with this dude? And you probably don't want to be that way. You want to be like, oh shit, I'm in danger. I should probably get out of this and then retaliate. So to have the ability to kind of flow is good. Like what drew you to, like what got you into martial arts?
That's a great question. I'd always been into fighting growing up, action movies, the usual. I used to get in fights a lot when I was a kid, both fights where you guys have a disagreement, and also just like, I would watch a movie with my friends and we would be like, okay, you're Spider-Man, you're Green Goblin, let's go. That we would just, I used to fight often, not crazy fights again with my friends, but I would fight a lot. So I was always drawn to it, but I didn't have an opportunity to train. My older brother, on the other hand, was more. He was, I would say, the more athletically inclined, and he got in contact with people who would do martial arts. So he would show me some tricks from time to time. But I wouldn't say I was a martial arts guy until I got to college. When I was like, man, the pandemic was just about to hit, and I was actually looking for karate school. I was asking around, and then one of my friends was like, "Oh, they do judo in the college I was going to, so you can sign up with the club." And I didn't know anything about judo, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go check it out. And I went there, and I started training pretty inconsistently. Honestly, I would do it like once a week because I didn't not have the discipline. I don't know how to approach it and everything.
Sure.
But before I even got to the point of judo, I already knew about MMA. So it was something that I already had interest in. From, Francis is like a famous Cameroonian UFC fighter who he was a heavyweight champion. So around that time, Francis was really gaining some popularity in the country. So I already had people around, even my judo club, saying that one day they're gonna do MMA, and I was like, damn, you guys are tough, But the more time passed, the more I realized that I also wanted to compete. I wanted to see. I would say it's cheesy, but do you know this anime Baki? Do you know? You probably know. You might not know it, but it's just about martial arts. And I was like, man, I want to be the strongest man in the world. At that time, that's what I was like. I said, I want to be the strongest fighter in the world. Any weight, any size. So, anyways, that's how I started doing judo. Again, inconsistently. And then when I knew that I was gonna move to America, I was like, okay, when I come here, I'm gonna do MMA. And
like, how'd you find
88?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I just didn't wanna just talk too much.
This is your time.
Yeah.
So, if you got to take 30 minutes to tell that story, run that shit.
But yeah, so again, my brother was into martial arts, like I said. I started doing judo. I was like, I got this throwing stuff. I want to hit people too, I wanna punch people in the face. But in the town I was in, there was no opportunity for that. So when I knew that it was certain that I was gonna move to America, I said I was gonna do MMA. We moved here, spent a year or 2 or 3, getting my feet stable. My brother was in North Carolina. I was training at a Gracie gym, and then he moved back to Maryland. And then when we were looking for a gym, there was this guy. He's also Cameroonian. He was in the UFC. Tafan. He trains at Lower Irving. So I think I just randomly discovered him online. And so when my brother was talking about looking for a gym, I was like, you know what? Let me see where this Tafan guy trains at, because it seems like he trains in Maryland. And I went to Tafan's comment section. I was like, yo, where do you train? I want to come check it. He doesn't know me from anywhere. And then Tefan was like, use the link. I was like, no, tell me the name of the gym. I wasn't saying that. I wasn't rude. I was like, can you tell me the name of the gym? So check it out. He told us the name, and me and my brother put in the address. We drove there. It's like 40-something minutes away. But then I didn't know if that was a long distance or not. Again, that was like my second year in America. I was still pretty green. We went there, did a trial class, trained for like a week or so. We're just doing mostly just Muay Thai, and then my brother was the one driving there. He had an accident with his car, so we had to stop. And then eventually, I also had to go in to do a coding program. I was trying to get into coding, so I stopped training for months. But again, I stopped going to Lloyd Irving. But we had a punching bag at home that my stepdad had bought, so throughout that time I was hitting the bag.
Sure.
Throughout the time from the time that bag came to the house, I would hit it regularly. I would work out. But anyways, once I was done with that program, I got a job, not a coding job, unfortunately. But I was like, okay, now I got a job. I got my license, in my driver's license. I'm like, okay, now it's time to find a gym, because I was over. Oh, let me go behind a little bit. But during that period, the guys from Lloyd's were gonna have a smoker at 88. So I was like, yeah, let me come and watch you guys fight, because I'd never watched any fights live before, never. Apart from like those few judo matches. Never seen people punch except like an actual fight. So I went to 88, and I was like, oh damn, this guy's a nice gym. That was at Elkridge, nice gym. The guys were performing well. So I just, this is Low Irving is it's a good gym, but 88. I was just 88. Just it looked more visually appealing to me. You know, so this is a nice gym. So fast forward when I had my license and I had a job now, and I was looking for a gym, and I looked up how far Lord Irving was. I was like, oh yeah, I can't make this drive. Not I'm the one driving. I was like, if I want to train every day or 5-6 days a week, I can't be driving 40 something minutes to the gym every day. So I asked Stefan. I went to Lord and I asked Stefan for recommendations. He recommended a few gyms, but then I was looking at the gyms around me, and the gym that had the best reviews, 88. I was like, oh, I've been here before, so I did my free trial. And then, I did a free trial on some other gyms. I'm not going to call their names, but I was like, yeah, I'm not. Some other gyms I did for like one day. I'm like, yeah. I remember I'd grappled one, but I'd never grappled in jiu-jitsu before. Grappled, and then grappled some of the guys who looked like they've been training for a while, and they could not submit me. I was like, yeah, hell no. I'm not. If I can, if I'm giving these guys a hard time and I don't have any training, then I'm not supposed to be here. So, that's how I started at 88.
Good. Yeah, the aesthetics over at Elk Ridge, it's breathtaking when you first see it. It's like, where am I?
Yeah, everybody has a uniform.
Yeah,
like
you have like separate like you got the ring, and you got all the bags, and then you got the one room where you're doing jiu-jitsu, and then there's another open mat for jiu-jitsu. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, y'all got everything. It's like Toys R Us in this joint. But yeah, that had to do it. And as far as like like you said, the best reviews, like just my experience training there, and just people who've come through and visited and everything. It's always felt like people like leave and they're like, that was a great experience. I want to go back.
Yeah, the owner, I props to them. They have a good pro system, because one thing that made me to stay there was I wasn't just thrown in there with the wolves. That was my experience when I was doing judo. I'll go in there, I'll get beat up for a day. I'll be like, okay, I'll come back after like 2 weeks, get beat up again. So I wasn't learning. I was learning a little bit, but I was just getting beat up, And back home, the mats that we would train on were not, you see the mats that we have here?
Yeah.
We literally just had like plastic and like grass thatch. The thatch in that was the mat in our college judo gym. And that was the first mat I'd ever trained on.
Y'all getting thrown on.
Yeah, so almost bare floor. And then imagine like getting thrown at full power, And it was later on that I found out that the other judo clubs around have real mats. It's just us, a college sponsored, and that's funny enough, the biggest college in Cameroon. So it's just that the judo program was not getting enough money. Those people don't care about what the fuck what are these guys doing, grabbing each other in Japanese pajamas.
Like those some heavy ass pajamas be sleeping in.
It's like, but so we did not have good training facilities. So when I came to Eden, I did the free trial, and I saw that even in the striking program, they separate this. Like, there's the intro class, there's the intermediate class, the advanced class. I'm like, okay, because for someone like me who, scared of getting beat up, it was good. Like, okay, by the time they put me into sparring, I'm already ready. That's one thing that really captured me about it. Like when I actually did the free trial, the fact that they can slowly work me towards sparring and not just throw me in there with the wolves.
Yeah, that's something that they're really good at. Even with the kids program, right? You have like the kids working up, and you got like your for the little ones, and then kind of that mid range,
the teenagers,
teens, and they have a good system. And I mean, we see it.
Yeah.
We see it. In performances, whether it be MMA, Muay Thai, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, and it's like, you can't look at it and be like, oh, well, this shit doesn't work. It's like, no, it works. As a matter of fact, it's one of those things I always think. Like our coaching is where it needs to be. Our facilities is where it needs to be. It's like if you're not,
where you need
getting
to be.
it. Yeah, if you're not where you need to be, you're not getting it. It's like you kind of have to take a step back and say, like, what am I missing? Because I know I have that moment sometimes when I mess something up. I'm like, what am I missing?
Yeah, what am I missing? What am I doing wrong? What do I need to change?
Yeah, that's the big thing. What's the change that needs to happen? And a lot of times, even our coaches, that we have, they pick up on it and they'll tell us. They like that's another thing I just can't get over with like, you know, our coaches is like,
Good. And there are many.
yo, there's so
There are
many.
many. So it's like you almost get it's almost like you're getting it private, you know.
Yes.
Because there are many coaches, they're moving around. It's a good system.
Yes.
It's a good system.
Absolutely.
Props to, if he ever listens to this, props to Master J and the coaches at 88.
Yeah, I'm trying to get like Keith. On here. I want to ask like Julius, but I'm like also scared.
That's Keith would be Coach Keith would be a
I've
fair,
asked Keith twice.
Well, what did he say? He's busy.
Well, he is very busy, but also too. Who was it? I think Chris Tran might have said like, I think he just wanted you to ask him so he could say no.
Say no.
I was like,
That's me.
but I do want to sit down with him, but I'm trying to plan like one of these one of the bigger episodes upcoming, possibly 300. We'll see. But yeah, I'm glad that your journey led you here because that's not it's not kicking dirt on other gyms or anything, but I do feel like sometimes you go to a place and it might not be the right fit for you, but you stick there because you're just like, I'm here, I'm committed. Whereas like, you got to, because I did a trial at a gym out in Columbia years ago, and they were nice folks. It just wasn't the fit for me. And I came out this way and went to Ivy League, and that was a good fit for me. Like everybody was nerds, and, we talked about comic books. It was a good time. And then
E equals to MC squared.
It's like, oh no, I'm not that kind of nerd. Like relax. Like those are like the smart nerds. I'm just like the nerd that likes to spend my money on plastic toys over here.
Who thinks better, Goku or Saitama?
So yeah, as soon as those conversations come up, it's like, I mean, I might be able to give some insight here, guys. Let me just slide in here real quick. Excuse me, kid. You push a little child out of the way. Actually, when I used to coach the kids class, I would sit after class and play Pokemon with one of the kids. I didn't know how to play Pokemon,
but that's admirable. That's nice.
I'm pretty sure he was cheating.
It's just like, I want to show this old man. He doesn't know anything about Pokemon.
Like I was sitting there, I was like, he did something. I was like, I don't think that's how that works. I was like, you don't even know how to play. I was like, you're right, I don't. But I feel like you're cheating.
I feel like you're cheating.
Like
my gut is always right.
Like you win every time. Like, how do you get all the best cards? Like, I don't even think my cards are doing any damage. But, he's doing well now. I don't think he's cheating at Pokemon anymore, but he's
you never know.
Cheating at Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons and shit. So when you ended up at 88 and you're going through the different levels of training, at what point did you because I know coming from like judo and everything, you're like, I want to do this, but when was that like clicking moment where you're like, oh, I'm really like, this is what I want to do versus like, it's just a hobby,
So it's funny enough, it's during the break before I started at 88 when I was like, man, I've been because even when I started at Lloyd's and Master Lloyd asked me, oh, are you want to compete or you want to, my brother said he wants to compete. I said, I just want to do it, for self-defense. Just in case someone tries me, I can smash him. But then I was a voice that kept on telling me that, I'm too scared to say I want to compete. It's competing is scary. The idea of, and the more I listen to, I want to say a voice, but the more I listen to those thoughts, I realized that I really, really wanted to fight. Especially when I lost that opportunity, because I think about it, it was like a fairy tale where I found a gym. My coach is from Cameroon, from the similar regions in Cameroon. He's in the UFC. There's another UFC fighter, Sodiq. All these guys are nice to me. I'm like, man, this is where I'm gonna be. And then 2 weeks after, it snatched from me. I trained there for 2 weeks. So I was devastated because I was devastated when that happened because I'm like, man, this is another opportunity that's come to me. And I'm losing it, all this time. I'm gonna train. Because the first time I trained, I told my friends, man, I just trained with a UFC fighter. I took a picture with Tefan. I sent it to my friends back home. My friends who watch MMA, they were like, oh man, Beltus meeting UFC fight. It was exciting. And then you just lose that opportunity. So that time is almost like losing the way people say when you lose something, you only know what you have until you lose it or whatever. Something.
You never know what you got.
Never was got until you lose it. But during that period, I was like, I came to that. I was like, I realized, I confirmed that I wanted to compete. So before I even stepped foot in 88, my plan was to do MMA. My plan was to compete and to go as far as I can. So from the first class, I wasn't moving like I wasn't moving like everybody because I didn't. It wasn't something that happened in the gym that clicked for me. I can't give you the day that it happened, but I came to that conclusion during that break. It's like, man, this is really scary, but I wanna fight.
Good. That's important though too. Like you said, like having that fear, it being scary. And you're like, but I got to do it because fear is powerful and it can cripple. Like fear fucks with me. Oh, there'd be times like we like just sparring. I'll see somebody like, you want to get around? I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna take a break.
It's fighting is very scary, and people ask me all the time, "Are you not afraid?" I'm like, I'm always afraid, and right up until the point where we touch gloves, I'm afraid.
Yeah, like I remember I had a job, and it was in a call center, and nerves and everything. Yeah. When you take that first call, and I remember I had just started training, and I mentioned to my manager or whatever she was, my trainer, and I was talking about the nerves, and I was like, the thing is though, the nerves are there, but once you get slammed, you don't have time for nerves. And that was the same thing with like those calls. As soon as you get that call and somebody starts cussing you out, it's like, I ain't got time for these nerves. It's like, I got to figure out, do I cuss her back out or like do I
keep my job?
hey, escalation. I need a manager. But like fighting with the fear, I think is so important because it's not going to be there forever. Like like you said, once you touch gloves, it's like, okay, it's go time. So good. Did you do any other sports growing up?
No, super unathletic. If you meet
tends to be the tale of fighters.
If you meet like 10 guys in Cameroon, 9 of them know how to play soccer. I'm the other one. I we used to play soccer in I used the word the hood as a kid, but I was always the worst. The guy who just doesn't have the coordination for it. I tried handball when I was in my teen years for a short time. Sucked at it. Tried a little bit of. There was like this missionaries that came to Cameroon. No, I wasn't missionaries, but they're trying to like teach us cricket. I was bad at it. Tried basketball in high school. I was on the bench. I probably played for like 30 seconds or a minute. My entire time on the basketball team. One match, 1 minute. They subbed me in. I fumbled the ball, subbed me out. That was it.
Basketball's a tricky one because for us, they're like, oh, you must play basketball. And then it's not always the case. Yeah. It's
and then Cameroon were all black, so there's no
like you gotta have a whole country. Everybody play basketball over there, right? Like, nah, man. Like there's a lot of coordination, like dribbling. Like what the fuck is dribbling?
Bro, still can't dribble. I can shoot.
I can dribble with my right hand, and I noticed the other day, barely. Like I have to look at the ball and make sure it's like, okay, it's coming back. All right, it's returning home. But if it goes to my left, like me and Steve, who's a co-host over on Columpton, he and I grew up playing basketball together. And whenever we would play 1-on-1, he cut off my right because he knew I couldn't dribble to my left. I was like, you motherfucker, yo. And I was like, all right, I just
know your enemy.
I gotta take the shot. I can't even dribble now. I just gotta shoot because he stopped me. But yeah, man, look, man, don't let nobody tell you're supposed to play basketball. You're like, no.
I hate basketball.
Nah. It's like I look at basketball and I'm like, basketball. Y'all want to fight?
Yeah. Once you guys start fighting, call me.
Well, Steve's like, yo, you want to come play volleyball with us on Saturday? You want to come to the gym and get punched in the face? She's like,
my answer is no.
Like,
then
no.
My answer is no.
And to be honest, like when I say shit like that, I was like, I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't. Like we're just punching mitts.
Yeah.
Like we're not hitting each other. Like
we're nice people.
Like I always tell folks, like we're like honestly, I think that's a big part of it though too. Is like for the most part, like if you're out there fighting, that kind of like bullies and mean folks don't tend to like do this.
Yeah, bullies. I heard someone say this, but bullies are looking for victims, not fights.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you put a kid that's bullied and a bully in martial arts, they both leave those roles, because the bully finds out that, first of all, he gets an outlet for whatever anger he has, and secondly, he finds out that there are a lot of tougher people out there. It's like, oh man, and then the kid who is getting bullied learns how to protect themselves. And once you fight the bully back once, it doesn't matter if you win the fight. The bully doesn't want anything to do with you.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
If you don't beat him that first time, that bully knows now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This kid. Yeah. I can't take his lunch money anymore.
It's like, I gotta go find another one.
Yeah.
Until they gang up, yo. Like, kids in school need to be jumping bullies.
100%.
That is wild. Now that I think about it, when I was a kid, I used to get bullied. Like, there was never a thought in our minds like
all the nerds just rally and just jump that bully and just
like, I know y'all know calculus. Like, make a device.
His ass added up.
Like, stump him out. But instead, he out there, taking Roscoe's money over there, taking Rudy's money over there. It's like, there's 6 of y'all. One of him.
One of him. And he's not that big.
Yeah, catch him in the alley. Like, I don't know
No
what to
cameras.
do. But I'm not advocating for violence, y'all. I'm just saying, don't let no bullies punk y'all.
Yeah.
Especially if there's more of you than him.
Hey.
Stomp him out.
Well,
Or
never
take him
gonna
to the
do it
gym.
again.
Take him out to the gym. Sign
take
that
him,
waiver.
Sign him up.
Then choke him.
Yeah.
Like it's sanctioned.
That's legal.
I always tell people, like, hey, y'all want to fight? Meet me behind the bowling alley, because the Severna Park location's behind the bowling alley. Like, meet me behind the bowling alley. We can do this.
We can do this.
It's like, sign this waiver, because if some shit happened, you're trying to sue my gym. I need to come here and get my therapy. So, coming back from injury and everything, or just away from injury, in a typical training week, what does that look like for you?
So usually, an ideal week, I would wake up early and go lift on maybe a Monday. In the evening, I'll do jiu-jitsu, 1 hour jiu-jitsu, and like one and a half hour of Muay Thai. And then on Tuesday, I'll repeat that. On Tuesday, I might go again. And this is an ideal week when I'm like on my P's and Q's. On a Tuesday, probably go do some sort of cardio. And on the evening, come back, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai. And on Wednesday, I might not go lift in the morning. I'll not go do anything in the morning. Usually, come back, jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai. Pretty much the same thing until Friday. On Friday, we spar. On some of those classes, because this is how my schedule was when I started. Eventually, they inserted some, because they used to have an MMA class in the morning, and I couldn't make it to that. But then we started having MMA classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I used to do MMA, jiu-jitsu, then Muay Thai. But the schedule has been moved around a lot. When I go back, it's gonna be different, because they've moved the MMA classes to a time that's more convenient for me to attend, and also the job I do now is more convenient for me to come at that time and train.
That's good. Good. Everything kind of fell into place and worked out, so that's good. What do you think of as the toughest part of your training for you?
I would say tough about my training is actually okay. You mean as in what was the toughest discipline or the toughest part of my training?
Toughest part, what's the toughest thing for you to do? Is it like maybe like mental preparation or just keeping on schedule or things like that?
I would say that's a good question, but the toughest part of my training is I would say it's learning new things. Okay. Especially when it comes to jiu-jitsu, is really cerebral. So it's I'm training multiple hours a day. Sometimes by the time I get to the second or the third class, I'm not as I'm just going through the motions, so I don't remember those things as much. I'll say it's learning like the tricky technique. I'll just say is the mental part of like learning. I wouldn't say I've built the consistency muscle pretty well, where I can show up again and again. I'll say I have the mental toughness to show up even when I'm sore, even when I'm tired. The toughest part for me would be actually learning the techniques, learning how to do those movements. And the second toughest part is, which many people don't talk about, is making sure my outside life is in order. Because the mistakes that I've made sometimes is neglecting my life outside, and eventually it starts affecting your training, your training schedule. You know, you're not doing well at the job, you get fired. Now you don't have maybe money to to buy new gear or pay your membership, or you now you have to go do a job that is eating away at your hours, or a job that tires you out and you can't train as much. I actually say I'll take it back. The toughest part of my training is what happens outside of training, like my outside life, like putting that in order. That's the toughest part for me.
Okay. Yeah, it's all a machine.
Yeah.
One thing has to work for the other to move as well. So, I think a lot of folks lose track of that.
Yeah.
Like you said, like that outside life away from training. If you're not sleeping right,
You're not sleeping right. You're not eating right.
Yeah.
You're not. Because I can go, but would I sleep on time? Probably not.
Yeah.
Things like that. Eat right. Be good. Be attentive at your job. Keep your room in order. Have a life outside. Stay in touch with the people who don't train. Like your people who are not in your martial arts circle.
Yeah.
Showing up for those events and stuff like that. Those are the parts of that that's where I would say I struggle.
Do you have any like superstitions or like
Rituals.
Yeah, rituals or anything?
No, I would say I'm religious. I'm a Christian. But I pray before my fights. I pray before training. Sometimes when I'm scared, I pray for my opponent and me. I want to get them out of there, but I don't want to. I'm not trying to. I would say sometimes I'm trying to kill the guy, but in reality, I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
So I do pray, but I wouldn't say I have any rituals before fights. I wouldn't say I have any rituals before training. I just try to, do what I learn, or like just stay. I want to say stay as calm as possible, but no, I don't have any. I wouldn't say I have any rituals.
Okay. I always wonder about that. Like my ritual is just having a panic attack before I train. Like I sit in the car, like breathing exercises. Like, all right, you can go in there and do this.
Maybe if I had to think of it, I wouldn't say it's a ritual, but listen to music. I also have like maybe that is one of my rituals.
What you listen to before you go in?
There's like 2 videos, right? Both of them are like edits that people make of Mike Tyson, and one of them is I think even made a video with the sound, but talking about like fear is my friend, and he say I love fear. Fear like allows him to reach his highest potential. So I listen to that sometimes. I've downloaded the video into the audio, so I listen to it sometimes when I'm really really scared. And then there's another video. I can't like recite what he's saying, but he's just talking about the mentality that he has with fighting. I listen to those things pretty often. I listen to them before I go spar on Fridays when I'm really scared. Before fights.
Dude, look, man, this is how I know I'm not meant to be a fighter. Because if I walk by and I hear somebody listen to that and reciting it, I'm like, man, I ain't fucking with that dude. He out here talking about fear is my friend. Like, I gotta go. I'm gonna roll up and just twist my knee or something real quick. It's like, ooh, I gotta pull out this fight. Like,
It's
right
man.
now.
It's like kind of sore. But yeah, I would say that's the closest thing I have to a ritual. But I don't have like a time where I do it. But I listen to specific songs that I listen to I listen to regularly, and I especially listen to those songs when I'm getting ready to compete. I wouldn't. It doesn't calm my nerves, but it helps me direct my nerves. Okay, this is what I'm preparing to fight. I'm preparing to go and compete.
Okay. Yeah, that's something that I always find varies from person to person. Like, some folks don't really have anything. There are others that it's like, well, I got to tie my left shoe first, and, put my right sock on first.
I'll wake up at this time, all those type of things. No, I don't.
All right.
I mean, it works for some people, but I already know that I learned that. I mean, life is pretty chaotic, and fighting is literally the embodiment of chaos. So if you, I almost see it as a weakness sometimes if someone has like crazy rituals, because these are people who usually want things to go in a certain way, and once it doesn't go, they're done.
Sure.
They're done. I even the way I finished the fights, I did not want it to go like that. I wanted to go a different way, but you take what you can get, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I always feel like you always want to have a plan,
Yeah.
but if you have this ideal that it
It
has,
has
to go
this
way,
way. You're in trouble.
yeah, it's
You're in
like,
trouble.
I mean, that's why you have contingency plans. Like, well, look, if I throw this kick, the plan is for it to work, but if it doesn't work, that's okay. That's just part of
Yeah.
the process. I'm going to go to the next thing, because movies and TV shows will have you think
Sherlock Holmes, discombobulating.
like you get you out there thinking like, oh, I can go out there and throw this one punch and I'm gonna knock anyone down. It's like, not how that works.
No.
It was like, you throw the punch and like you stand there like, and the person
He's still there.
it's like,
Still
oh
there.
shit, like I didn't have a part two. I thought you were supposed to fall, and then you're in deep shit at that point. So, how do you handle a tough training session?
I like after or during the training session, whenever I'm struggling in class and stuff like that, I always just imagine whatever tough scenario I'm struggling with in a fight, what I would do, or imagine myself in a fight, maybe in that position, maybe I'm under someone has me mount, someone is kicking my ass, my hands are tired, whatever scenario. If I'm boxing, kickboxing, I'm doing MMA, and I'm in a tricky situation, or I'm having like a tough training session, I always just imagine that this is a rep that I'm getting. I mentally I like transfer myself to an actual match, so it helps me. Number one, it helps me like, oh yeah, even if this guy even I get submitted, I get beat up or whatever, I now see how it would look like in a fight, and I can go back home and think of counters or think of, I would say, contingency. So I visualize myself in the fight. And I'm like, okay, if I let this guy just have his way, then I might give up during an actual fight. And in regards to like after a bad training session, when I've already gotten my ass kicked, I always just tell myself that some days, like the quote, some days you're the hammer, some days you're the nail. And I've had bad training session this day. I also have like a good training session the other day. And one of my coach Delbush always says it's better to take your losses in the gym. It's better to get out wrestled in the gym, or out striked or submitted in the gym. You know how it feels to be defeated. So it makes me feel sometimes, again, after a bad training session, I'm obviously sad, but also in my head I'm like, okay, at the very least, there's a new ceiling. Okay, I thought I knew how to box, but I met someone who's really good, and now I want to beat that guy. I thought I was good at takedowns, but this guy is better than me. Now I want to beat him. I find some way to transfer that to either competition, data to analyze and stuff like that. It helps me out a lot.
Do you go, like, for me, on Saturdays when we train, I record all the rounds and everything, and even the coaches doing the technique. Do you go back and look at any video of any training or even the fights, just kind of breaking them down?
For my training videos, not as much. I don't take as many videos. That's something I've been working on. But either just the right gear and just being lazy to like set up the camera and stuff like that. The chaos of it. It's a pain in the ass. So and the few videos I've taken, I haven't watched them as much. That's something I'll say I'm working on now. But in regards to my fights, I watch them often. I watch my jiu-jitsu matches often to see some of the mistakes that I made. I go through my fight, see where if this guy was good enough, maybe he would have gotten me here. Maybe I would have gotten here. I was lucky he missed this shot. It's very easy, especially with my fights that I actually, that I won, like my kickboxing fights. I know it's very easy to be blinded by success. So I'm constantly going back, looking through, seeing the holes. Oh, I was flat-footed here. Or I wasn't moving on as much here. Here I was relying too much on my strength. Here I was being shy instead of just smashing the guy. I definitely do that with my fights a lot.
I always think about that with for myself when I'm looking at on my videos
Yeah.
because it's tough sometimes
Yeah.
when I'm getting my ass kicked. I'm
Yeah,
like,
you're cringing. Yeah.
like, why did I do that? But that's important though, because it's like, okay, I did something here. Like, why did I do that? Is that a habit? Is that a tick that I just keep doing? And then, like you said, even, getting blinded by success when you're doing well,
Yeah.
there's still things, nothing's perfect.
Nothing's perfect.
So, speaking of success, though, for you, what's your definition of success, like in MMA and jiu-jitsu or martial arts? Period.
My definition of success would me being I would say, of course, being champion, but also being an inspiration to people back home. People back home and people of anybody for a start, anybody that has anything in common with me. So, men, Cameroonians, Africans, and I mean Africans like black people, nerds, anybody who wasn't good at sport, anybody who has doubts, Christian, anybody who has anything in common with that I have in common with, if I can inspire them in some way, shape, or form, it brings me a lot of satisfaction. And I know that one of the best ways to do that is to be a success in the sport. So, like, be a champion, the money and stuff. Again, I don't wanna be crazy rich. Even and not just through fighting. I don't want to be crazy and rich in general because I feel like at a certain point, at a certain level, it like some of these people they don't get to live life. For example, Dante, looking at your setup now, you're living life. Yeah, that's the impression you give me. I mean, you haven't hung out much.
One way of putting it.
Yeah, one way of putting it, but you're living a life for the most part that you want. And I feel like it's so easy to start chasing things like that and lose track. So I would say my biggest measure of success is the ability to inspire people, and then I would say freedom. I feel like I know that money gives you a certain amount of freedom, and also being one thing that attracts me about being a fighter is that you can be yourself. If you're doing a corporate job, there are things you can say and there are things you can't say. If you're, even the other sports, you're still kind of limited. But the fact that as a fighter, they already identify you as a barbarian, as a wild man. It frees you in a way because just like, okay, we don't expect we don't expect this guy to follow the norms of society because again, this guy he goes in the cage and he fights people. So it in my head it gives me a certain amount of freedom. If the more success I get, I can talk about what I want to talk about. I can do what I want to talk about. I can meet a lot of great people, like Dante. So that's what I would say success is: being able to inspire people, the freedom that it gives me, and of course the connections.
Yeah, I think that's fucking awesome, dude. Just inspiring people in general, and I can say just the bit that we've talked about so far, I'm listening like, damn, dude, like I gotta be like this guy.
Hey, hype me up. I'm cheesing.
It's like, damn, well, it's just like, in general though, the ideal, you're like, in that break, once everything's shut down, you're like, this is what I want to do. So what do I got to do to get to that point? And you start doing it. So. I mean, that in itself is already inspiration. I mean, like you said, you're sending pictures back, back home. Like, hey, I met Tafan. He's a UFC fighter. And, folks are like, oh my God. And that in itself is inspiration because it's like, okay, that cat's doing it. So he's showing us there's a path. We can get to this. So, that keep that shit up, dude, because that's awesome.
Appreciate it, man. Awesome. That feels good to hear.
Man, I mean. It feels good. It feels good for me to hear your story. I'm like, damn, dude, like I'm inspired. Like I'm thinking, because I was like, what am I gonna do later on today? Well, after he leaves, I'm probably gonna read some comic books. So now I was like, damn, I guess after he leaves, I'm gonna fucking get on the treadmill, run a little bit.
2 hours.
Go ahead, head out, like go up to the track, run fucking 25 laps. It's like what? Like, what are you doing? Hey, man, I just did a podcast and I got to set my game up. So, your first fight. What was that like?
Okay, that's a interesting one. My first fight, my first kickboxing match, would be my smoker. Okay. So that happened. That specifically, I don't know if you might not know, but that specific one is dear to me because a year before, like talking about when I went to 88 to watch the Smokers, and I posted the picture with Teflon. One of my friends was commenting, and he knew that I wanted to be a fighter, so he was joking around with me and teasing me how, man, look at you next to those guys, you're like skinny, they're big, and then like, man, he was talking about how during my first fight he's gonna come with a Cameroon flag, and if they start beating me up too much, he's gonna come and beg, so that this is my brother, don't kill him, stuff like that. And we're talking, and it was my friend from back home, and we hadn't spoken in a while, right? But it was my boy, and we're talking, we're catching up, like telling me about how he just got his master's. I was like, yo, did I tell you congrats? He's like, nah, tell me real quick before I get mad. We're catching up, and we spoke until late in the night for me here. And I remember he made a statement at a certain point in time, oh, Beltus, you're going to be a good fighter because you have a lot of anger. And it hit me because he became my friend during my later years of my my college, when I started college. And I used to have bad anger issues as a kid. Right? Obviously, I said I was fighting a lot, but I didn't think he didn't know me during that time. So I was surprised that I don't know what perception he had, but he could tell that I did have like a lot of pent up anger. And to be fair, we did go to a boarding school together, but we weren't friends. We weren't even in the same class, right? And again, by the time we became boys, I had mellowed down. I was like 16, 17. I started mellowing down, getting my anger under control and stuff like that. That's also around the time that I got closer to God and stuff like that. So, anyways, fast forward when we had that conversation and he said those things. So even though he was making fun of me, he still communicated to me that he believed in me and all of that. And then I went to bed, and I woke up the next morning, and the first phone call I got was from one of my friends telling me that guy is dead. So it was, I was like, what do you mean? This is the last person I spoke to before I went to bed. The last guy, like, was sending voice on WhatsApp, sending voice messages. And then now you're telling me this guy's dead. It's like, yeah, man, he's dead. The guy I was talking to is like one of our friends in common. He spoke, and then he dropped the phone because he was crying, He dropped the phone, and then I called. Then another friend we had in common called me, bro. Did you hear that Renee's dead? I'm like, bro, I just heard that. And then he would talk, and then he would start crying and get off the phone again. Happened to me like 3 times, three, like in back to back. They just called me back to back to back, to friends that we had in common. And then I was like, I was trying to figure out what happened. Long story short, it seemed like he was on a business trip in a neighboring country of Cameroon, and he was an accountant. He was an auditor, and someone had told me once that auditors, it's a risky job because you discover things that the company might not want you to know. And knowing my friend, knowing like his Christian values, there's a good chance that he saw something and he did not agree to cover it up. Okay. So basically, they said they found him in a pool, and said he drowned. But when his family when they took him to the people who saw his body said there were bruises around his neck and stuff like that. So obviously, this guy was, and then it was a hotel. The company that he worked for paid for the hotel. For some reason, the cameras weren't working. So classic movie. Of course. A classic movie. Of course, the cameras weren't working that night. Of course, no one was a witness. So that when all of that happened, I remember that day I was heartbroken, man. So I was crying. It took me like an hour for me to come to the realization that this guy's gone. And I was crying. At a certain point in time, I was like, I gotta leave the house. I wore my shoes and I went for a jog. I was just jogging. I was just like, I have to do something. Then I didn't have a car. I didn't have a job because that was that period in between. Again, like I said, I had stopped training at Lloyd, so I didn't have much going on. But I was like, I just gotta leave the house. I was just jogging. I remember I was listening to one specific song. Funny enough, again, it was a love song, but the I would say the beat was very melancholic. So I was just listening to that. It's like a Tory Lane song, Free Tory. But I was like, what was it? I forgot the title of the song, but I'll put it if I have to. But I ran for like 5 miles, and then I walked back home, and I was thinking about it, for a couple of days. But fast forward, around the time I was gonna have that smoker was on the same period that he passed. So same like 2-3 day period. So throughout that time, I was thinking about him. I'm like, man, I've been training for like 8 months. I was like, man, this guy said, this is my friend said I was going to be a good fighter. I think I have it in me. I'm not sure. During that, there's a lot happened to me. Then I wasn't working. I lost my job. My family. As Africans, they hate the idea of fighting. They really hate. They in general in sports, African families. Oh, it's cool. Go to school and get a degree. And I have a degree, but come to America, go and get another degree. What I do with this fighting thing. So my family, except for my brother, who my biggest influence, everybody else didn't want me to fight. Obviously, didn't want me to train. I live in my mom's basement. I'll fight with her often about it. Fight with my sister. But during that period with everything happening, you don't have a job. It's like you're still going to this gym. You're still going there every day. But I was in camp. I was like, man, there was so much pressure on me to win that fight. Because I used to tell myself, like, man, when I win this fight, I'm going to get an opportunity to even talk about my friend passing like I'm doing now. Like this is like a full circle moment. Like even when I went on the Eli podcast, same thing. I was like, it's a full, like just an opportunity, or even just make a post and dedicate it to my friend. That's enough. That was enough vindication for me. Like, oh yeah, I honor you even if it's a bit. But there was a lot of pressure. Coming into that fight. I trained as hard because at the same time, whenever, like I was talking about fear being my friend, I use that fear of losing to train as hard as I can. People didn't know that it was not like I was moving around being all moody and people think I was, chilling, smiling and stuff, but it was in the back of my mind. So I would talk shit. I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to knock that guy out. I've never knocked someone out in my life. I've never even punched someone. When training, I never punched someone in the head on the drop. I never dropped someone from a shot to the head. But I said I was going to knock that guy out, And I knew that the more I say it, the harder I have to train because I have to. I learned that thing from a book that when you put your goals out there, it forces you to. But pull out Beltus, you're not even that strong. What do you mean you're not going to knock that guy out? He's a smoker, this headgear and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, fast forward, we had the fight. I TKO'd him in the second round. And then I was like, damn, this is real. People were cheering for me. I was like, man, I won. I mean, the smoker, they don't say who's the winner and stuff like that, but I won that fight. So I remember I was so happy, for a couple of hours, and then I was like, okay, this guy, this my friend was right. I can go into my first official fight, which was months later. Not that I wouldn't say it's the same thing, but that first unofficial fight meant more to me than anything else because I got to honor my friend. And again, I don't like using the word best friend. I have a lot of brothers, I have a lot of guys that I have a bunch of guys that I'm really close to. Like I said, that my brother, my family knows them and stuff like that. He falls in the category of a best friend, so it was just. I'm happy I got the opportunity to shout him out. So that win meant a lot to me, and it also just being like I was talking about how being unathletic and not being good at any sport and stuff like that. That was also proof to me that I had it in me. That's the other thing. I was like, I just want to know that I have it in me to win a fight. Like I'm not, the sick guy who gets sick all the time. That was pretty much me, sickly kid. I wanted sickly, maybe a little harsh, but close to that. Like get sick, be bad at sport. My brother's athletic. Oh, why can't you be like your brother? And heard that like 1,000 times. And funny enough, the only positive voice when it came to things like that was my brother, who always tell me that if I can do these things, awesome. You can do them too. If me and you are from the same dad, same mom, there's no way. You don't have that ability.
Look, man, I'm getting goosebumps over here, a little misty eyed.
Hey, my bad, man. My bad.
Note to self. Yeah. Keep the comedy question coming instead. But that's really important though, and I'm glad you got the moment to honor your friend, and it's important, those types of things. I mean, like you say, you talking with them, and I think with friends, especially those that believe in you, and like, look, you're gonna be something. You're gonna be good. That shit is so important. I'm glad you had that, man. Yeah. All right, we're gonna change gears here just a little bit, and what I want to ask you is some stuff. I guess looking forward, in your fight Correct. I gotta stop saying I listened back to an episode, just kind of trying to catch my ums, and I stopped saying and I started saying a lot. I was like, fuck. I replaced it with something else.
I need to stop saying and like.
Yeah, the like gets me a lot too. I can kind of like is one that I can kind of let go, but because there's one episode I said 3 times in a row, and I was like, oh no, this is a problem. It's like there's it was like fuck, that's a problem. But what are your short-term goals as it relates to training, upcoming fights? I know you're coming back from injury, but just as you're getting, see, I just did it there. As you're getting back into the swing of things and really getting your momentum back, what are those short-term goals looking like?
The short-term goals, I would say, I said, but would be, for the most part, getting back to 100% of my functionality in my knee. I would say my goal is 110. I don't want to. I also know that it's an easy trap to want to go back to the way things were before you got hurt, and I want to take a different approach where I just, I wouldn't say abandon, but just completely just change levels. I don't want to say change level because it's cheesy, but just version 2.0 of me. Sure. So my short-term goal will be getting back to 110% of my strength on both legs. Of course, getting back into training and at the very least having a fight by February or January next year, latest by February next year. I would love to compete before the end of this year. Something like maybe a tournament, maybe this whatever tournament I got injured in, so just get that fear out of the way, or like a light, Muay Thai or something. Those my short-term goals would be Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu by the end of this year, and by February, January, get a fight, either a real kickboxing fight, or if my coach thinks I'm ready, an MMA fight. And then I plan on going on a run for the rest of the year. I get as many finishes as possible.
Nice.
So just go on a tear, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. Hey, you're hungry. It's I've been on the shelf for some time. I want to come back. I want to get this. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. And hey, keep us posted. So I know when we do see stuff on the Compton page, we try to share it and repost it. BJJ Wiki, if I see stuff.
I know you. That page is active.
I get to a point where it's like I can't even keep up with like fights and jiu-jitsu and stuff. I just start posting like just other shit. Like,
I know, but I watch your stories. I watch the BJJ Wiki page stories often.
I get people asking me like, "What does this have to do with jiu-jitsu?" It's like, I don't know.
I like it.
Well, I had to say to someone once, "This is my page." That's what it has to do with it. It's my page. I put what the fuck I want.
Whatever I want. There, your name is there, Jake Dante.
Yeah. So like you're here. Gotcha. But yeah, keep us posted, and now it's gonna be in my head that when you're up in Delaware at Stellar Fights, those are some of the, because Steve and I have been up there for fights before, so it's like, oh man, like you get a fight up there, let us know.
Yeah, I actually
catch up again.
Actually, does for Stellar they just legalized MMA in Maryland, a couple of MMA Muay Thai a couple of months ago. I'm actually going once I'm done here. I'm driving to go watch some of my teammates fight here in Maryland.
Oh, nice.
In Boonesboro or whatever. Boonesboro for Stellar.
Sounds familiar. Like I know I've seen the words. Like,
it's the first. I think it's the first Maryland Stellar card. As soon as we're done, I'm gonna drive and meet up with some people and then go there. They fight later on during the card, so there's no rush. Just to be. But yeah, I'll definitely let you guys know. It's gonna be. They're gonna be fun fights, quick fights. Fun.
Hey, it can all still be fun.
Yeah.
Like you see somebody get a flash knockout, like, oh, that's still fun.
Or a flash submission.
I love
do jiu-jitsu too.
Yeah, multifaceted.
Exactly.
Do you see yourself chasing, like, as you have goals, your short-term goals, but like down the line, one of the bigger promotions, UFC, Bellator, these things on, your radar as something you want to get to? Because I feel like as an MMA fighter,
Kind of, yeah,
that's the ladder, right?
yeah. I would love to. I would one of the big, preferably the UFC, but I will keep my options open. I would say I wanna have a good time, and not necessarily a long time. So once I get to the point where I'm ready for a big promotion, if the PFL says what's up, I'll dip. If one says one championship, I like the idea of fighting in Asia. Like the birthplace of martial arts. The kung fu, karate guys, and Muay Thai guys. I want them all. So
let me at 'em.
Yeah, let me at them. I wanna make Africa famous. They've never fought a guy like me. Oh yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye out for all of those promotions of course, at a certain point in time. But I'm not one of the guys, again, I do not go up saying I want to be in the UFC. I want to be the best. I want to be the best fighter in the world, and usually that's in the UFC. But at the same time, I also know it's not just a matter of skill. Like, you've seen some people who are the best, are really good fighters, don't get into the UFC in their prime, and then they still, they're not cognitive of the fact that maybe they're past. You can have. I heard people say you can have multiple primes, or cognitive of the fact that it's time to wrap it up. But because they're still really attached to that dream, they don't. I feel like I'm rambling now, but I know that you can. Like I was saying earlier, you can have a dream. You can really passionate about your dream, but you also have to have a connection to reality. I think delusion is very important, but it needs to be measured. Yeah. So you see, like, good fighters now, like especially now where a lot of those guys are leaving Bellator and going. I don't know how much UFC MMA watch, but a lot of those good fighters who, if they came to the UFC when in their 30s, early 30s, and they would have done great, but now they're almost 40 something. Some of them are coming in after a loss, and again, some people come in and they do good. Some other people's like, this guy's clearly out of his prime. Yeah. And you would think that, it's people say, maybe those other promotions are not as good, but I think it's the matchups that those people get, because it's a business at the end of the day. So we're in the entertainment business. So I would love to make it to the UFC, but I'm not picky about any of those three promotions, as long as I get paid well and I get the exposure that I want, and get to make the influence that I want.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy with the fighters that have left Bellator to go to the UFC. Like Eddie Alvarez went over and won the lightweight title. So, and it's weird because being someone that's watched mainly UFC, I watched the other promotions, but mainly UFC. So I always kind of think of myself as like, I'm cheering for those guys. But when they bring someone from another promotion, I want to see that dude do well, because it's this ideal that I worked with a guy. We worked at a pizza shop. And this, I want to say, this might have been 2009. So I believe he actually trained jiu-jitsu. I just didn't know anything at the time, but I knew I watched a lot of MMA. And I was talking about the UFC, and he comes over and goes, Dante, the best fighters don't all fight in the UFC. And I knew what he was getting at, because we're talking about, like, Fedor specifically is what he was getting at. And I was like, boy, if you don't get the fuck up out of my face, I'll hit you with this pizza roller. But my mindset is there, though, because it's like, I know there are a lot of great fighters that aren't in the UFC for one reason or the other. So when Eddie Alvarez came over and won the lightweight title, I was excited. I was like,
that's lightweight. Yeah, that's a stacked.
That's
stacked.
So him coming in and winning, it was like, oh, good for him. Now you see Michael Chandler comes over, and he's excited.
Yeah, he's excited, but
never been in a border fight.
He hasn't performed well. But if you think about it, Michael Chandler almost finished the best guys. He almost finished Oliveira. Almost finished Gaethje. Had a tough fight with Poirier. I mean, almost has never killed a bird. That's what, like, African people will say. But I wouldn't say that the other guys at the other divisions suck. You know,
No.
because even Chandler lost to some of those, lost to people in Bellator. It's not like Chandler was like the best of the best, undefeated in Bellator. He was good, but you know,
I mean, he had that fight with Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah.
That was
War.
like considered one of the best fights ever. It's crazy because whenever I go back and watch that fight, it was so good of a fight. It's like you know who won, but while you're watching,
Yeah,
it's like,
man,
who the fuck won that fight?
Yeah, it's so,
You're like you're just
so-
watching it like it's new. And then you got Patricio
Pitbull.
Pitbull coming over now, and it's like you said, these guys are coming over later, and it's like,
Really
damn,
late.
dude, I wish you would have come, 5 years earlier, just to really sink your teeth into it. Versus now, it's still cool, and I wonder though too if it's like you're coming there for the exposure now, the paycheck, because not a lot of folks know the names over there in Bellator unless you're an MMA fan. Even me as a fan,
yeah, we still don't know some of those people.
I see a name and I'm like, who? They're like an undefeated fighter. He's 17-0. Like, oh, okay. And then you see, like, oh, okay. Like now we're talking. But getting to the level at one stage or the other, it's like it still matters for something.
Yeah.
So, whatever is in the future for you. Hey, I'm here to rally behind it, man.
Appreciate it, man.
It's just good when like talking with you, like hearing the story and just hearing the things. It's like, damn, dude, I need this dude to win. Like I need this dude like to get what he deserves, because you get folks like Conor, and Conor, we see the Conor now. And it's like, oh, that guy's a monster.
Yeah.
But you see the Conor coming up, and he was a humble dude, and he was hungry.
Driven.
Yeah.
And
You wanted him to win.
you wanted him to win bad.
get that
He was
shit.
winning, and he was winning.
Yeah, he was not just winning, but winning in style, and then get on the
Spectacular.
mic and then talk that shit. And it's like, no, I want to see this dude win some more. And now he's far removed from that
far removed from
individual.
that.
It's the money, like
Yeah.
we said, that money.
Yeah.
Like it helps with that freedom, but
Yeah,
sometimes it helps with
yeah.
a lot of the booger sugar too.
Yeah.
You
Well,
see
that
where it
baking
takes you.
powder.
Like, why does Dad always eat sugar off the table with his nose and he says, "Woo"?
That's it.
Like,
So, no, he just really loves his sugar.
like, yeah. I mean, he puts it in his corn flakes.
Yeah, he
like-
needs the glucose.
Like, why is he eating sugar with his nose again? Just with a little spoon.
Yeah. That has low blood sugar. Ronnie.
We're just trying to keep him alive. He is alive. All right.
But
Back to reality. I gotta stop making jokes about Conor McGregor. Just one day I might cross paths with him. He might fuck me up.
man, I think too many people talk shit about Conor. If he has to beat up everybody he's just gonna get shot.
Eventually just be like, look, I know I can't beat you, so
But, hey.
I'm just gonna shoot you. Fuck it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's easy.
Because I can't beat you. I know that. Like, if I can't beat you, I'm gonna bite you. That's a fact. I've bitten people in fights because it's like, I'm not gonna win this one.
but,
Actually, I've bitten
can't.
people while I was winning. I was beating the shit out of a dude and just bit him in the stomach for fun.
That's so funny.
It's like, look, I just want this dude to know.
That's the funniest thing I've heard
Like,
all
don't-
week.
I want that dude to know, don't fuck with me. He punched me in the neck.
Say, Dante, don't play that shit.
Yo, he hit me in the neck, and I didn't know how it was going to affect the rest of my week because I like to eat burgers, and I couldn't open my mouth wide enough to eat the burger because he hit me in the neck.
Yeah.
But that's all right. I bit the fuck out of him.
Fuck out of it. No. I'll rock with that.
I wish I actually knew his name. I think his name was Chris. I don't know his last name, but
Either way, he got bit.
I'd love to see him again now. Have him as a guest on the podcast. So what was it like getting bit by me? I had to
It
get
was like
shots.
getting Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson beat.
Yeah, this was post Mike Tyson biting Holyfield's ear off. So he was probably thinking that, like, yo, is this Mike Tyson's cousin? What is wrong with this? Well, Sarah, my wife now, but then my girlfriend, she heard the dude down the hallway through all the commotion. She heard, this motherfucker's biting me. Get him off of me. I didn't hear any of that. Like, I just heard the
You're
commotion
sinking
around
your
me.
teeth in.
Like, and he had on a coat, so it's like winter. It's like I went searching for flesh. I was like, I'm gonna bite this motherfucker. So and mind you, I was winning. So that's just a note to anybody out there. Like,
don't play with Dante.
if we get into a scuffle, just understand. Even if I'm winning,
You're
I'm
getting
biting you.
bit.
So yeah, y'all might gotta really fuck me up, like hit me with a brick. So yeah, I got to be chilling. So away from the cage, away from the mats, away from training, away from the fighting, what do you enjoy doing when you're not doing any of that stuff?
That's pretty. Oh, there are a bunch of things I enjoy, but away from the mats, I'll say hanging out with my friends. So doing whatever, or whatever activity we've decided to do. Maybe just hanging around. Talking shit. Watching anime. I'm an anime guy.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah. I'm a heavy anime guy. I like movies. I like documentaries. Just like things that I do for fun. I like the idea of doing other activities, but with my schedule, sometimes I say, "Oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna learn how to shoot a gun, go to the firing range. I'm gonna learn how to do." But a lot of time, I don't get to the point where I do those things. But I try to. I try to. I'll just say pretty much but I'll just say in general, hanging out with my loved ones, family, friends, girlfriend. Yeah, pretty basic.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, you're a fighter.
Yeah.
I always wonder when people ask that question, are they expecting some wild shit like you have
skydiving? So my bucket list, I'm gonna do it like twice, and then that's it.
Someone just sent me a video of a dude in the chute didn't work, and he got tangled up in the chute, and then the backup chute didn't work. And I'm sitting there watching this video, and as I'm watching it, I'm like, yo, I already know I'm about to respond to this person. And as soon as he was fine, it worked out. He was able to get the backup chute to eventually work. At the last second, I messaged this person. I was like, absolutely not. Don't send me stuff like this. My wife wants to skydive, and I was like, okay, so for starters, no, because we have a daughter, and I just don't know if I have the patience and the responsibility to raise a little girl.
Yeah,
because I'll be out there beating up all the kids in the neighborhood.
You pull my daughter's hair.
Some little kid pushed my daughter down last spring. I flew out that door, and I hear my wife, Dante, come back here. I just went in, and it was like, and as I'm like storming over there, I'm like thinking, what the fuck am I about to do to a little fucking 7-year-old? I gotta calm. And his mom was already addressing the situation. But then I had to calm myself down because, I know his mom saw me storming over there, thinking, I will shoot this man.
Hey, don't touch my dog.
He's like, I'm like running over there, and she's probably like loading up the gun. I'm like, oh yeah, my bad. Like I wasn't gonna bite you.
Just him. Just your child.
Don't touch my kid. Yeah. Well, I did tell him, I was like, yo, don't knock on my door. Ask for my kid ever again. Like y'all can't play with my kid. Like if she comes out to play with you, that's fine. Which. Yeah, she's a knucklehead. So she's like, all right, I'm gonna go out and play with them. I was like, God, see, this is why I need my wife in the situation because she knows that. Better. I'm like, no, go to your room, like Rapunzel. Like, go to your tower. How do you keep a balance between your fight life and your personal life?
I always remind myself that I have other layers to me. Like I was saying earlier when I said I had struggled in the past with keeping my life in order while I'm also pursuing fighting. I was reminded really quickly that if you don't handle your responsibilities out of the gym, they're gonna sneak in the gym. Your financial issues, your health, all that type of stuff. So I always try to keep in mind that if I don't address these things, if I don't keep my outside life in order, it's gonna affect me. And secondly, I have the ability to do other things I like doing. I want to create content, working on making a YouTube channel and talking about just yapping about random things. It's effective. And just other things that I don't really have words for them, but I know that when it comes to media and all that type of stuff, I like to draw too. When it comes to media and stuff, I have an inclination and I want to pursue that. So I always try to remind myself that, because that's also one thing that happens a lot when you're a fighter. Am I moving the cables?
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, that's also one thing that happens a lot. Talking about balance, people always try to put you in a box. Oh yeah, I bet. Oh, like the first time I went out with my friends, for the first group of friends I made in the gym, and I was like, "Oh, Beltus, you want to go out on Saturday?" I'm like, "Yeah." Oh, Beltus, I didn't even think you drank. I thought you just trained like in the Dagestan. I'm like, "No, first of all, I'm not Muslim, and I do drink. I drink, every other, every couple of weekends I'll go out with my friends and drink. It's like I have a social life, but people just. I also think it's because people. It's easier for them. It's easier for people to just classify you as one thing because number one, it consoles them. Let's say someone at the gym who's not doing as well as you. It's like, oh, this guy doesn't have a life out of the gym. That's why he's in here training all the time. Or this guy doesn't have responsibilities like I do. Doesn't have like a difficult job, so that's why he's training all the time. So it's easier for them to put you in a box. And then the people out of the gym, it's easier for them to be like, "Oh, you're not an athlete. Who's who told you to go fight? They're always trying to put you in a box. So it's also motivation for me because I don't want people to I don't want anybody to feel like they can put me in one box. I take great pride in my intelligence, the things that I know. So I'm always looking for an opportunity to, manifest those things and live those things. And also, I also know that I'm gonna have a life out of. Once I'm done with fighting, there are other things I want to do. I don't want to start from square one. So even if I wanted to zone in all in on fighting, I don't think it's like not have anything else going on for me. I don't think it's a smart approach, especially if I have all the ability to do the things that I know I can do. Yeah. Long answer, but
hey, perfect answer, dude. No such thing as long answer. These days, especially, it's important that you see more fighters, athletes, period, tapping into other stuff besides their sport because back in the day, you were a workhorse.
Yeah,
that's all you did. Was this, and then a lot of those folks would retire and they didn't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know what to do. And like, you can be an analyst, you can be a coach, you can do this, you can do that, and they're like, I guess maybe no,
because it's easier to just hyper focus on one thing, and again, you don't know. You have your. The Bible says, man has his plans, but God has the final say. I'm gonna be UFC fighter, and then you get injured and you never train again. Oh, I'm gonna be this, and then you just never make it to the big promotions. What then? I'm not, some people say, oh, you should not have one leg in, one leg out. I'm not saying you should have one leg in, one leg out, but I'm saying it's important to think about, the different possibilities, things not working out the way you want. And that has been my experience in life, I would say. What's happening?
No.
Okay.
You keep giving us that wisdom.
The wisdom, okay.
I got this here.
Okay, but from my experience, things a lot of the time don't tend to go the way you want. So I've let go of that childish notion that everything is going to go according to plan, and I just try to do as much as I can on my end, because I've also seen that whenever you neglect something, it doesn't matter what, it's gonna show up later. Like I remember the courses I used to struggle in college with were courses that I used to make jokes about. I'm never gonna need this. I'm a science guy, but I want to do biology. I'm never gonna need math. I kept on getting math courses. It didn't matter. I was getting old. I was advancing through our school system, and even in high school, there was still some sort of math. Okay, I'm not doing any math course, but chemistry, like my first part of my chemistry course, the first semester is just math. I'm like, damn, I thought I escaped this. And I went to college. My biology courses, we have like an entire course. It sounds like it's biology, but it's just math. Yep. So I was like, okay, I keep on neglecting this thing. It keeps on chasing me, So
it's there for a reason.
Yeah, it's there for a reason. So I think it's important to like think of everything as a whole. I've even forgotten what the reason why I was even saying this. But yeah, I try to see myself, like a holistic approach to life. Just not just hyper focusing on one thing.
Good. I think that's super important. Mm-hmm. Again, if you just have all your eggs in one basket, if that basket falls over,
you might be
all
cooked.
crack. Yeah. Now you got an omelet. That's what it turned into an omelet.
Yeah, mud omelet.
So, last question before we go to our rapid fire.
Mm-hmm.
Young fighters coming into the game. what's some advice you would give to them as they're starting up? Or what's something you would tell them that you wish you had
done.
heard?
I would say that number one piece of advice I'll give is consistency over intensity. I just drop a gem, but what completely changed my journey into working out and sports was a video that I watched. Faraz Zahabi, is Joe St. Pierre's coach. It was on Joe Rogan podcast talking about how you should work out. Like, you should never be sore. I mean, I'm always sore now, but he was basically saying if your max amount of reps you can do is 10, you should be doing 5 a day or 6 a day, and then slowly increase it. My approach, trying to be a workhorse when I was younger, whenever I want to get into a sport or get into working out, I would try to just do 10, do my limit, and then I'm not able to do it the next day. If your max is 10 push-ups and you do 10 push-ups today, maybe you're gonna do 10 push-ups tomorrow, but that's it. But if I'm doing 5 and I do them for 5-6 days a week, at the end of the week, who has more reps? Me. 5 times 5, 25. If you add enough, that's 30. You've done 20, I've done 30 push-ups. So I would say the approach should always be consistency, showing up. One day it might be just training for 30 minutes. One day it might be training for 2 hours. One day it might be just training and not being able to spar. But just try to keep a consistent schedule. You would beat everybody else who go. You beat anybody who's just all intensity. You beat them in class. You have the reps to beat them in class, and you will build a good foundation that's going to help you anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's sound advice for anyone, even folks who've been doing it for a while. Looking at Dante here, because there are times I'll get out here, I'll work out, and I'm just gunning it. And then the next, I'm like, man, that fucking sucked. Like, I'll get back to it on Thursday. And Thursday comes around, it's like, you know what? Maybe I'll do it on Saturday. But no, absolutely great advice there. Before we wrap up here, though, I want to hit you with these 4 rapid fire questions. They're simple ones. I don't get crazy or nothing. Like, some people you like rapid fire time. Which one you going with, Jennifer Tilly or Elvira? It's like, what the fuck does that have to do with fucking fighting? That's a horror movie shit. Like, chill, son. Get your podcast mixed up. So I'm gonna go just simple ones here. Favorite submission.
Rear naked choke.
I knew it was coming. For some reason, I was thinking he looks like somebody that just gets your neck and just won't let go. It's like, damn it, dude. Like, he's not moving. Favorite strike.
Right cross.
Nice. Just I'm making mental notes now. Just like, because if I got to stand in front of you, I just got to know what's coming my way. Fighter that you like to test yourself against someday.
Semi the Jedi.
Oh, that's
Semi. If you hear this, hey, big fan. I love to feel that power.
Fair enough. That's that's in house. That's tangible right there. We can do that. And then post fight meal of choice.
Halal food.
Okay. See, for me, I'm a chicken nugget guy. So when you said that, I was like, damn, that's a sophisticated palate.
Yeah. Hey, Cameroon has the best cuisine in the world, man. I'll make you try someday.
I'm all for it. You know why? Because my mother-in-law made me do like that genetic, like hey, what's your
you told me
what's your ancestry? And it was like, oh, and then it's like, oh, like you're 82% Cameroonian. And I was like, oh, word, like, and
brother. Mon frère.
And when I heard that, the first thought that came to me, I was like, oh, I got to reach out to Francis and Ghana.
Yeah, you got to reach out. Yo, hey, we're brothers now.
It's like, yo, what's up? We might be cousins.
Hey, you never know. You never know, man.
Hey, could be. So hey, I'm all for it though. So, like, first off, we're gonna get the Compton thing going again, and then I'd love to have you back on here because, like, this was just kind of the
intro.
Get me your story. Now, next time, how we gonna be on some shit?
I'll anytime, man. It's I would say before we close it, it's a pleasure being here. The first time I discovered Off the Mask, I'm like, man, one day I would love to be on there. I'm like, when I make it a little bit in the gym, maybe I'll be on there. And then when Eli randomly hit me up and was like, oh, yes, do Compton. I was like, okay. And I came there, and then I don't know if you remember, I think I mentioned it. I jokingly mentioned it, or you mentioned, or something. When Eli told you that I trained, and then now when you hit me up, I said, Beltus, I want you to have him on the pod. I'm like, my time has come.
So Eli has been kind of pushing me to do it. I'd been wanting to do it too. It's just a matter of like on my end when I'm trying to schedule things. I think about what the other person might have going on. So it's like, oh, they might got this going on, they might got that going on. And then also too, like I don't know if people know this, but I get nervous before I do my own podcast every time.
Makes sense.
So then reaching out to people, it becomes this imposter syndrome type deal where it's like, hey, you want to be on my podcast? And then but everyone's been cool. No one's ever been a dick about it, but there's always this fear in my mind, like, how many listeners do you have?
And there are people like that. People like that.
My response is always, your mom. Like, she listens every week. But no, like, I've been wanting to have you on for a while. It was just a matter of trying to sort out on my end, like when to reach out, and then I reached out to Eli because I wanted to have him back on. He was like, yo, you got to have Beltus on. You got to get him on. I was like,
appreciate that, my boy.
So yeah,
appreciate that, Eli.
I mean, you know, it what's that thing that, you know, talk about, like hang around people that, you know, speak your name up when you're not around.
Yeah, when you're not around.
So, and you know, again, Eli does that. Like, I love when I get a text from him too, because it's always on some comic book shit. I'm like, I love this shit.
Yeah, Eli, he let me borrow a few of his comics. That's my boy. That's my boy.
So yeah, I definitely want to have you guys back over on Columpton, and I think one of the things I probably mentioned before with when I mentioned having them on, I wanted to have you all both on here as well off the mat. So we'll sort something out.
I'll make myself available when the time comes. I'd love to come on here and talk about myself some more.
That's what someone told me with podcasts. They're like, do a podcast because people love to talk about themselves.
Yeah, people
love it. I didn't look at it that way. I was like, I guess, but it's more like I love hearing people's stories. As Christian Slater said in Interview with the Vampire, I'm a collector of lives. I love to get the stories and put them out there for others to hear. So that's what we're here for. So if you're willing to share, I'm always willing to facilitate and listen. So thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Before we get out of here, though, do you have any shout-outs or mentions you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I'll shout out my brother, Brewster. Shout out Eli for, speaking my names in rooms that I wasn't there. Shout out to 88, being a good gym. Shout out to Cameroon.
Big shout out.
Yeah, big shout out to Cameroon. And shout out to Jesus.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right. And shout out to you, man.
Shout out to Dante. Appreciate it, man. It's a pleasure coming in here.
I'm glad to have you on. So thank you. And as always, to you guys, the listeners, thank you. If y'all got any questions, concerns, criticisms, anything, feel free to reach out. You can always find me at bjj.wiki on Instagram or Off the Mats Podcast on Instagram, either or. I'm always there. I'm always there. I've been getting overwhelmed with messages recently, and it's I need to get an assistant. I need to maybe get my wife to handle those messages. Like, yo, just handle these. Don't mind the twerk videos, but like handle these inquiries though. But yeah, shoot me a message if y'all got any concerns. Because the thing I always say is, like, if you're listening and something sounds a little off, let me know. I can't fix that shit if you don't tell me, because I will tell you straight up, this is the best podcast in the world. And y'all might be listening like, damn, dude, your sound quality is a little suspect. So y'all gotta let me know. But and also, if you want to be a guest, always reach out. I never ever will say no, unless you like really on some weird shit. Like, and I'm a weird dude, so if you're on some weird shit, you got to be really weird. Like, it's like terrifyingly weird. Like, nah, you can't come to my house.
The bar is low.
Like, the bar is really low. But yeah, reach out. I also want to give a big shout out to my crew over there at Nerd Rage Radio. Bobby, Chris, Joe, Marilyn, Phil, Ricky, Tiki, Farrell, Chucky O, whoever else is over there. I don't know. Like I said, it's like the Wu-Tang over there. There's just too many of them. But if it weren't for Nerd Rage Radio, I wouldn't be doing a podcast. So I always want to shout them out and thank them, because like when I was on their podcast, you know, chatting it up, they wouldn't let me talk about my shit. So I was like, I guess I got to make my own fucking podcast. And here we are. So thank you to those guys. I really do appreciate them. And I haven't been on in a while. I missed them. So I gotta figure this out. I gotta figure my life out and get back on this show. Also want to shout out my other podcast, So You Like Horror. If you're into scary movies, go check that shit out. We are, I believe by the time this comes out, we would have released or getting ready to release the remake versus original Carrie from 1976 versus the 2013 version. So Carrie's one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite books. I just love that shit. So I'm going to have a fucking great time talking about it. I'm going to sit down with my wife just because if I've watched it 20 times, she's had to watch it 20 times. So she knows the movie very well. But go check that out. So You Like Horror. So You Like Horror, all the words separated by underscores on Instagram, or you can go find the podcast anywhere you're listening to the podcast, especially this one. And last but not least, I would like to thank my guest here, Beltus. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for making the time and sharing your story, dude. Like, you're inspiring, and like I said, you gave me goosebumps, and at another point had me like kind of like getting emotional. Like, God damn, dude, like this is a superhero over here. I gotta be like this dude.
I'm blushing and I'm black.
It's like, hey, I mean, it's a thing. You know, we say that shit, and people like, oh my God, black people can blush. No, but you know what? We appreciate it.
The thought that counts.
It's the thought. But thank you for doing this, and we're definitely gonna, get another episode in. And like I said, we don't set up the Compton thing because that's a lot of fun. I keep saying that shit. People gonna go start listening to the shit. It's like, ooh, maybe I don't want to listen to Compton because I be saying some shit
guys.
like that. Yeah, that's some shit that might get me in trouble. So, but as always, to the listeners again, we love you guys. Thank you. You all know what it is. You guys keep listening. We're gonna definitely keep making these shows. Thank you, everybody, and bye.
Wow.
They were with it. Now let me sing a song.